Well, I have some time before the award show, and odds are the award show is going to start with a lot of pomp and circumstance, anyways. And I was asked today at work by a couple of people about Marian Hossa. So Marian Hossa has likely played his last NHL game. And he's not retiring. It's the Chris Pronger thing, and it's funny because, people are saying, well, wait, why doesn't he just retire? He can't. Coming out of the last collective bargaining agreement, the NHL was still pissed off about guys signing long-term deals. Marian Hossa signed a 12-year deal with the Hawks. Still has, I believe, 4 years left in it. And it's one of these contracts that has a low cap hit relative to the amount of money he was being paid at the start of the contract. And it nosedives at the end to bring that cap hit down. So at 38 years of age, he's making $1 million. So with that $1 million cap hit or salary, you can argue that Chicago got around the cap. Cap recapture is the thing. That's why you see these guys staying on dead cap. 35 years or older, if you signed a contract at that age and you retire before the contract's over, the team that signed you gets penalized. This is the Roberto Luongo, oh God, don't let him retire clause for Vancouver fans. Because even though Luongo plays in Florida, if he retires, the cap recapture penalty goes to Vancouver because they signed the contract. Chicago can't get out from under this contract. Here's the other problem. So there's people who are probably saying, hey, so this gives the Hawks $5 million in cap space. As Elliot Friedman pointed out, it doesn't. It doesn't until the second day of the regular season when they're allowed to put a player on long-term injured reserve. So they don't have that cap space this summer to play with. They have that cap space once the season has started, but they're not going to get a big-name player once the season started. They don't sit out there waiting for a contract. Chicago has problems. That's why they arranged for Kruger to get taken by Vegas. And Hossa being on LTIR, like I said, it only helps during the season. I think it's ridiculous. I think and here's the other thing too. Apparently the NHL's ensuring that Hossa qualifies for LTIR. Probably because the nature of what's causing him to retire is weird. So Marian Hossa is allergic to the equipment. I haven't heard much about it, but it sounds to me sort of like at work we use latex-free gloves because there are certain people that if they touch latex, they have a severe skin reaction, severe allergic reaction. So his pads, it's likely that the material that compromise NHL pads and protective equipment, that's what Hossa is allergic to. It's not. I doubt it'd be his jersey and shorts and all that because there's a lot of clothes made of that same material. So I'm going to go out of my way and say it when they say equipment, they mean his pads. And it can be debilitating. It can. I've talked to people who have an allergy to latex, and it can be really, really strong. He's been taking medication since he developed this condition, which apparently is insanely strong. And he's not supposed to keep taking it. And doctors have told him to stop taking it because it is so strong that they have to keep testing him to make sure he's okay. I am totally fine with him calling it quits. And I don't think any fan has any problem with him calling it quits. You don't want to see a guy putting his health at risk to play hockey, which is why the concussion thing bothers me so badly, because there are a lot of players who put their lives on the line. Marian Hossa has been putting his health on the line by doing this. And we can all agree he's a warrior, and we can all respect him for what he's done and what he's been to the NHL. But we can also agree, Marian, it's time to go. And it's time for the NHL to look at this cap recapture and realize it's stupid. Here's Marian Hossa, a guy who played for years in Ottawa, was criticized for being soft, not by Senators fans, but I heard it plenty from others. Hossa's just another soft European. He's all skill. There's no bite to his game. He's not a premier player. He's not that good. He's overrated. And then he went to Atlanta, and the demise of the Atlanta Thrashers, I think, started with Hossa leaving town. Because once Hossa left, it showed that Atlanta wasn't going to keep any of them. And they didn't keep Tkachuk. They didn't keep any of their rentals that they got the one year they made the playoffs. And eventually Kovalchuk went out. The return they got for Kovalchuk was anemic at best. And that was the end of Vegas. But he played in Atlanta for, almost a full 3 seasons. Goes to Pittsburgh. He's going to Pittsburgh to win a Stanley Cup. He wanted to get traded to a cup contender. He's winning a Stanley Cup. So, famously, after Pittsburgh loses to Detroit, there's an image of him on the ice looking despondent and upset that he went to Pittsburgh to win a cup and they lost in the final to Detroit. Then, as a free agent, he decided, I'm signing in Detroit. They just won the Stanley Cup. I believe Detroit will win back-to-back. Detroit loses in the Stanley Cup final the year after to Pittsburgh. So, the image of him despondent, somebody photoshopped it so that you had the exact same image, one with him wearing Pittsburgh colors and one wearing Detroit colors. It was hilarious. Everybody went nuts about it. I never found it that funny because, for me, I never had a problem with Hossa. I didn't have a problem with the fact that he was trying to pick the right organization. He signed a 1-year deal in Detroit as a veteran. He didn't have to. And then after that 1-year deal, he said, all right, I deserve to be paid as I feel I should be as a veteran scoring winger. Chicago says fine. They give him the 12-year deal to decrease the cap hit. They did try to circumvent the cap with that deal. The NHL rightly penalized them, and yet it's strange because I'm watching all these guys who sign contracts at 35 or older go on LTIR rather than retire. Because if they retire, there's the cap recapture penalty. And they don't want to see a team do that. So again, the players are saving the NHL from themselves. The owners and the general managers alike. This is a recurring theme. Hossa's won 3 Stanley Cups in Chicago. The image of him despondent in a Detroit jersey and a Pittsburgh jersey has kind of been shoved aside in favor of his 3 cup rings. And rightfully so. I never thought there was any reason to dislike him or... I mean, there was an entertainment value in him switching teams, and the team that he left won the Stanley Cup. That I found kind of entertaining, but at the same time, he's a veteran player. I have no ill will against him. And I really hope the best for him. But it is weird. So, has he retired? No, he can't. He can't retire because if he retires, there's a cap recapture penalty against Chicago that leaves them with no cap room at all for the remainder of the deal. So by saying, all right, I'm going to go on LTIR, there you go. But for the NHL to say they're reviewing whether or not he can go on the LTIR, they'll allow it. I can't see them not allowing it. They've got a guy on the competition committee and the fair Let's All Play Nice committee, and Chris Pronger of all people, and he was under contract to Phoenix this year. So the fact that they've allowed him to work with the NHL while still being, under the cap tutelage of the Phoenix, like Arizona Coyotes, it's ridiculous. So I can't see them denying Hossa, and even though they don't seem to understand PR as well as other leagues, I think they understand what a disaster it would be for them to deny this. So we'll see. It's 5 o'clock, so I got to gear up and get ready for whatever the NHL does with this award show and Vegas reveal. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know your comments about Hossa, favorite memories, least favorite memories, whatever you got. Thank you very much for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. We got to pass that 7,000 and beyond. I'm looking at you, 10,000. And thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you guys again soon.